Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem. So, Jen,
Yes.
depending on the time our ghosties are listening to this episode, if they're listening to this episode the day it was released, you are making your way to my house.
Yeah, or I could already be there depending on what time of the day they're listening.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I think
true.
my flight gets in at like 5, 5:30.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm excited.
I know. Back together again. And we're going to go to
Yay.
Paracon. And hopefully we'll have lots of
Yay.
interesting stories.
So many stories. And we're gonna do a pretty quick turnaround on the Paracon episode. It's gonna come out in early June, so it's only gonna be a couple of weeks that our ghosties have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
I'm
it. It's
really
gonna be a
excited.
lot of fun.
And I'm gonna be there this year, so of course it's gonna be more fun.
Right. And Katie had an
Yeah.
experience last year, so you never know.
Yeah, it's
You
possible.
never know.
Yep.
All right.
Welcome to our scripted, unscripted banter.
Yes.
I do just wanna give a warning for today's episode. Kelly and I were talking a little bit beforehand, and I think both of our brains are just fried just in general. We don't know why. It's just a
It's
bad
true.
ADHD day for both of us.
It's really
So, we
true.
apologize in advance.
Yeah, because I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm talking about. So,
She doesn't. And I had a busy day at work at my day job and was on the phone a lot, so my brain's kinda fried from being on all day. So we'll see what happens.
see, it was raining all day here, and
Ah,
I get affected, like, headache-wise and body ache-wise by
mm,
the weather. And then it was 'cause it was raining all day and cloudy, it was a very tired, I just wanna crawl back in
yep,
bed kinda day. Oh, I feel like I haven't even actually woken up yet, and it's 6 p.m. when we're doing this, so
yeah. We're supposed to get some really bad storms tonight,
Ooh.
thunderstorms. I love a good thunderstorm. My dog doesn't. Ellie is not a fan, but I love a good thunderstorm.
The other day, I woke up to a thunderstorm outside, and I there's nothing
Oh,
better than a thunderstorm in the morning when you don't have
yeah,
to jump out of bed right away, and I laid in bed and I just watched videos on my phone, and my cat was cuddled up with me. By the way, did you know that the act of laying in bed and just lounging there before you get up is called herkle-derkling?
I do know that,
Yeah.
yes.
So I like a good herkle-derkle.
Me too. I don't do it very often during the week, but I love me a good Herkle-Durkle
Yeah,
on the weekends.
it was perfection.
Love it.
Anyway, do you have a question for me?
I do have a question.
Okay.
If you had to be haunted by one historical figure, who would you pick and why?
Historical.
Yes.
Okay, give me some, like, can it be actors in the
Can be
past, or does it
anybody.
have to be so anybody that's
Yeah,
existed?
really. Yeah, I guess anybody that's dead and is a well-known person. Like,
Probably Robin Williams.
oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
because he was such a source of joy in my
Yeah.
life, like, all
Yeah.
throughout my childhood, like, I used to watch Mork and Mindy to date myself, but
Mhm.
just his movies and his comedy, and he was always just so funny and alive and
Mhm.
exuding joy and happiness. It's terrible that
Yeah.
he had that what he had Lewy body dementia, and they
Yeah.
believe that that's kinda what led to his dying by suicide, so
Yeah, that's one of the hardest. like, celebrity deaths I think that ever hit me was Robin Williams. And ironically, the other 2 hardest celebrity deaths are the 2 people that I'm going to say for my person,
Okay.
because I couldn't pick just one even though I know the question said so, but initially I said Betty White.
Oh, that would be a good one, yeah.
Yes, I love Betty White, inspiration, and I think she would be a snarky ghost,
Mhm.
and she loves animals, so she would get along with Ellie, it'd be great. And then recently, I have been thinking about a certain family because someone in that family decided to make a really sexy underwear photo shoot, and whew,
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sure you've all seen it, though it'll be like a month ago because we're recording in advance. But if you have not seen Robert Irwin's, what was the brand? I don't even know the brand of the underwear. I
Who
didn't even pay
cares?
attention to what brand of underwear. Just Google Robert Irwin and like underwear photo shoot, and oh
I
my goodness,
I was not prepared.
I wasn't.
No.
I mean, I've always had a little bit of a crush on him, but, like, he's just always been really wholesome and sweet, and I've just always like, "Oh, he's so cute." And then that, I'm like, I have seen so many, like, Instagram videos of just, like, millennial female just, like, having the roughest time right now with that.
Well, it's pretty bad when it's Gen X women, because
Yeah, well, you can't deny that. But anyway, that's got someone else in my mind, another person that I would love to haunt me would be his father, Steve Irwin.
I don't know, man. You have to be prepared. Like,
So I saw way back when I saw like meme or whatever that said, just whenever you're not feeling good about yourself, just imagine that Robert, I got my mind on Robert. Sorry, Steve. Just imagine that Steve Irwin is talking about you like he did any animal he saw in the wild, and you will
yeah.
immediately feel better about yourself. And I need that in my life.
I kinda like the, what is it, like, the holy trinity of Mister Rogers, Steve Irwin, and Bob Ross.
Oh,
And it was like, for Bob Ross, it was like a very, like, forgiving kinda thing, and then, like, for Steve Irwin, it was, like, appreciating, like, your beauty or something. I don't remember
yeah.
exactly what it was, but
Okay.
those 3, all 3 of them. Bob Ross would be a big one for me because I and relevant to today's
Yeah.
episode, actually.
It is relevant.
I used to watch Bob Ross with my dad, and we loved watching his videos, and every single video, we were like, "Well, he messed it up.
Yeah.
Why'd he do that?" And he never messed it up.
He always fixed it.
I have also FaceTimed with Andy Biersack from Black Veil Brides while dressed in drag as Bob Ross.
We know. You've told us the story
So,
on the podcast
I am a
before.
big, big, big Bob Ross fan, so I
Yeah.
might bring him in too if I can pick 2.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, now we have our 2. And we'll just hang out, so we'll really have 4.
that would be, oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be great. What a great group of people to
Yeah,
be around. Yeah. I
seriously.
love it. Okay, well, are you ready to dive in?
I am.
Awesome. I'm really excited about this episode. I've had it on my list for a while, and I researched it, like, several weeks ago, so there's probably a lot that I don't even remember, so I'm excited to go back and revisit it because it's been a few weeks. I had a really good hyper focus day one day a couple weeks ago, and I just banged out a lot of research on episodes. It was great. But there will definitely be additional parts to this episode because not like back to back, but in the future, kind of like a paranormal games because there's a lot more that we can talk about.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Uh,
Paranormal Games the other day and wondering
Yeah,
if
we
we
should
should do
revisit that.
another episode because those were
Yeah,
good,
well, those were fun. People like those. Well, hopefully they'll like this just as much.
I'm sure.
Okay, imagine this. You're standing in front of a painting, admiring its details, when suddenly you feel it, that uneasy sensation, like someone or something is watching you. You step to the left, then to the right. Cha cha now, y'all. But the eyes in the painting
I
seem
was
to
thinking
follow
I
you.
w I was thinking, to the left."
Oh, my brain has been doing that so much recently where I've just randomly been thinking of music lyrics or
Mhm.
movie quotes or TV quotes. So, okay. The eyes of the painting seem to follow. And then, just as you turn away, you swear you see something move out of the corner of your eye. Coincidence? Trick of the light? Or something far more sinister? Today, we're exploring the eerie world of haunted art. Paintings that bring misfortune and canvases said to hold spirits within their brushstrokes. From The Hands Resist Him to The Crying Boy, these aren't just works of art. They might just be doorways to something darker. So light a candle, keep your walls clear, and let's dive into the chilling tales of these haunted masterpieces.
That sounds amazing. Now, I have a friend who is Katie's art teacher. She
Okay.
is a painter,
Yeah, I've met
and
her.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, you did one of her little classes with me. I took for because I homeschooled my girls, and we had a homeschool co-op, and she taught a lot of the art classes and music classes, and she did an art appreciation unit for the high school kids. I took it. I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
"Jamie, I'm taking this class with you." And I did all the little art projects. I'll have to show you some of the
Oh,
recreations
yeah.
of famous paintings I did in that class. We did them on little cards that are
Did you
like
recreate The Hands Resist Him or The Crying Boy?
I did not.
Okay. That's probably a good
So, one of the things she said is when you are trying to appreciate art, I like how this started, like, how you said, like, you're standing in front of it, like,
yeah.
admiring it, and then, like, what do you feel? Because her first step is, like, to appreciate art is to look at it, take a deep breath, and just kinda relax and think, "What do I feel?" Like, does it make me feel happy? Does it make me feel sad? Do I feel confused? Do I feel excited? And then you kinda break it down from there, like, do I like it? Do I not? What do you know? So, I like how it's that feeling of art is a real thing when you look at something and you
Yeah.
get that feeling, so I'm already excited.
Once we get into the actual paintings, I'll have you look at the pictures and let us know what
Oh,
feelings
okay,
it
yeah,
for
sure.
you.
Sounds great.
But before we get into that, I've got some fun facts. Pablo Picasso
He was a
is
terrible
known
person.
okay, well, he's known for his masterful and innovative contributions to art, even if
Mhm.
he was a dick.
Yeah,
But his talent started at a remarkably young age. In fact, Picasso was reportedly able to draw before he could walk. His
that's
mother,
amazing.
who was a painter herself, noticed his ability to replicate images with astonishing accuracy as a toddler. By the age of 7, he was already drawing like an accomplished artist, creating realistic depictions of people and animals.
Well, that's funny because 'cause isn't Picasso usually, like, abstract?
Yeah,
That's funny that he started out, like, very well, I guess you have to start out being able to accurately do it.
yeah,
I
really.
know somebody who is friends with his daughter, one of
Oh,
his
okay.
kids, and yeah, not a great guy.
Okay. Well, next we're going to talk about one of my favorites, Vincent van Gogh.
Love him.
Love him. That episode of Doctor Who, perfect. If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
Van Gogh and Matisse are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah. Despite being one of the most celebrated artists today, Vincent van Gogh only sold one painting during his lifetime, The Red Vineyard, which was purchased in 1890 for 400 francs, which is about $2,000 today.
Okay.
Van Gogh created over 2,000 works of art, including 900 paintings. Yet he struggled financially and was largely supported by his brother, Theo. Sadly, he never got to see the worldwide fame his art would achieve after his death.
Unless you believe the Doctor Who episode.
Yes, unless the doctor, took him. I don't want to spoil it. But today, his paintings sell for millions. Portrait of Dr. Gatchet fetched a record of $82.5 million in 1990.
Wow, in 1990, it was 82.5 million. I wonder what that would translate into today
Translates
dollars.
to today, a fuck ton.
Yeah, definitely. A metric
Absolutely.
fuck ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to talk about Michelangelo. Despite creating one of the most iconic masterpieces in art history, Michelangelo absolutely hated painting the Sistine Chapel.
Huh, that's interesting. I thought we were talking about
Origin
the Ninja Turtle at first.
We're talking about art, Kelly.
Do you know that a lot of people think that it's the 16th chapel?
Really?
Instead of Sistine, they think
Si
16th. I hear people say
Huh,
16th all the time, and I'm like, "You
interesting.
stop
Never
it.
heard that.
You gotta stop that shit."
He was originally commissioned by Pope Julius II in 1508, but at that time, Michelangelo saw himself primarily as a sculptor, and he didn't really have a desire to kind of take on this big task. So he resisted the project and he wrote a letter saying that he was not a painter, and he expressed frustration at the massive scale of the work, which took about 4 years for him to complete.
For not a painter, he did a
Yeah,
damn good job.
right? He also suffered physical strain during the process
I bet.
because he was working on the scaffolding for hours every day, lying on his back, which caused a lot of neck and back problems. Michelangelo was so dissatisfied with the project that it was so well documented that he even wrote a poem complaining about his work. In one letter, he referred to this task as a great burden, and he said he was forcing myself to paint against my will.
Wow.
Yeah, he was not a fan.
No, sounds kinda
No.
whiny.
Yeah. Okay, scary facts. Some paintings have human remains in them.
Oh, like the book covers.
Shut up. Don't
Okay.
remind me of the damn book covers. Throughout history, artists have used a lot of different unusual materials to create their work, and some have even incorporated human remains into their painting. This was particularly common during early periods when artists experimented with rare and exotic substances.
I wonder what kinda human remains, like, are we talking blood? Like, mixing blood in the
Well, if you
paint?
shut up, I will tell you.
Oh, sorry.
God.
I know, I'm so annoying.
For instance, bones, ashes, and blood have been used in creating pigments.
I have my dad's ashes. My dad loved art.
You should put them in a painting.
I don't paint that well. I would feel like I was wasting his ashes. I can't do that. It's his body. It's like it's weird. I had a ring made with some of his ashes
Oh,
in it.
you should have Katie do it. Katie's a great
She
painter.
might be a little skeeved out by that.
Just don't tell her. Mix up the paint for
Mix
her.
it
Katie,
for
I got
her.
a special paint for you.
I had a ring made with my dad's ashes in it, and what I didn't realize when I ordered it is I can see some of the, like, cartilage in the ring, and it freaked me out so bad, I just put the ring in the urn with the rest of his ashes. I can't wear it. I can't
Yeah,
even look at it.
I have a necklace with my grandmother's ashes, like just a little bit, but you can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it kinda freaked me out.
yeah,
It's a beautiful ring. The guy that made it did a great job. It just
I kind of want to see it now.
I think I can show it to you when you come.
Okay.
In a couple hours when you get off the plane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no problem.
Yeah, perfect. Another example is the use of lapis lazuli to create vibrant blue pigment called ultramarine. It is so expensive that some artists would mix it with ground up human bones to help reduce cost.
Do you know what's funny? Is my ring is made with lapis.
Is it?
Yes.
I have crystals of lapis.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other cases, mummy brown pigment derived from ground up mummies, often Egyptian remains, was popular in the 16th century.
I mean, you gotta think that's bringing a curse with it.
Right? Anytime you
Yeah.
touch a mummy, leave the mummies alone. We
Right,
have
I don't
enough shit going on in the world. Let's leave all the mummies
and
alone.
they did this shit in the 16th century, so that explains a lot about the course the world
Yeah,
has taken.
exactly. It's their fault.
I don't know who's messing with mummies right now in 2025, but knock it the fuck off.
Right. Stop it. Seal that pyramid back up, put the remains back. Sacrifice yourself because you were an asshole and let the
Right.
rest of the world be because
Yeah,
something's going on.
exactly.
Not a fan. Okay, next scary fact. Ancient cultures believe that artists could trap souls or the essence of people within their artworks. Back to these Egyptians. The Egyptians thought that portraits could preserve a person's soul, which was one of the reasons that led to the mummification process.
Huh, that's interesting.
And my last fact is it is said that some artists who painted blood moons, the eerie red hued lunar phenomena,
Phenomena.
do, 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 would fall under strange and supernatural influences. Many claimed these artists would start seeing visions or hearing voices related to death and destruction. The fear was that the blood moon symbolized a bridge between life and death, and the artist who painted it became channels for otherworldly forces.
Huh, I've never heard that before. I like
No,
that.
me neither. I was like, I want to paint a blood moon.
Good. You can paint one when you're here.
Yeah, let's do one together.
I have all the paints and the
Perfect.
canvases and the brushes and the brush cleaners and
I have all of it too.
the
I just
mixers and
don't
the
ever use.
yeah. I mean, I have all the watercolors and I have some kits, the set like that with tutorials for things.
Yeah,
So many things that I haven't done.
yeah, same. One day.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, back to haunted art. I'm gonna dive right into this topic.
All right, let's go.
So, what makes art haunted? That's a rhetorical question. I see the look on your face. You don't have to answer it.
I was gonna say like somebody put a curse on
We're
it
gonna get into
or
it, Kelly. It was
okay,
a
okay.
rhetorical question.
I don't do well with rhetorical questions because then my
I
brain
know.
says, "I have to answer this, I have to figure it out."
That's why I interrupted you because I saw the
Okay.
look that you were gonna try to think of an answer, and I was like, no, you
Alright.
don't have to.
I'll shut up.
The concept of objects becoming haunted has intrigued both paranormal enthusiasts and researchers for years. Several theories attempt to explain this phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Do, 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 do. The first theory is that of energy transfer. This theory is simple. It just suggests that objects can absorb and later release emotional or psychic energy. Generally, this is surrounded about around any type of intense events or something that, brought about strong emotions. This is known as the stone tape theory. It posits that the materials like stone can record traumatic events, which can then be played back under certain conditions, leading to ghostly apparitions.
Okay.
The next theory is just simple spirit attachment. Some believe spirits can attach themselves to inanimate objects. I don't know who would believe that.
I It sounds like a bunch of gullible assholes if you ask me.
Exactly, right? No one is going to buy haunted dolls off of eBay and keep
Seriously.
them in their house. Just it's dumb.
Did you hear that?
I did not.
Okay, I had a thing of deodorant
Mhm.
that's sitting on the shelf over to the side of me, and it's now on the floor in
Oh,
front of the
well,
bookshelf.
the dolls
As
are
we're
mad
talking about
we're the dolls are mad that we're bad mouthing
That's
them.
funny. Okay,
That
sorry, go
is
ahead.
funny. Yeah, just a reminder to everybody, Ellen is back with Kelly. I know we've had a lull in some paranormal activity. Ellen did not like hanging out at my house.
She's back. She's not doing too much, but I did put
Yeah,
some
well
rules on how much she can interrupt while we are
yeah, well, I guess she just got
recording.
insulted that we were joking, Ellen. We
We
do
were
believe in haunted objects.
obviously,
It was a funny haha. She
yeah,
just had to prove it just in case.
just in case.
Yeah. This attachment is thought to occur when a spirit has an unresolved issue or a strong connection to the object from their lifetime. Such attachments can lead to paranormal activity associated with the item. And last but not least, you have cursed creations. Objects may become cursed intentionally through rituals or spells, or unintentionally by being associated with negative events or energies. These curses are believed to bring misfortune or supernatural occurrences to those who come in contact with the objects. While evidence is anecdotal, many cultures have stories of cursed artifacts that cause harm or bad luck.
We've done a couple episodes about things like that.
Yes, we have. While these theories do help provide a framework for understanding haunted objects, it's important to note that scientific evidence supporting these claims is limited. Skeptics often attribute such hauntings to psychological factors, environmental influences, or coincidences, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Mhm. But we are going to talk about some psychological explanations because that's what we do here.
I like the psychology of this
I
stuff.
do too. I get fascinated by that.
Yeah.
I wish there was actually, there was, and I didn't take it, and I'm still mad to this day. But there was a class. So I majored in got my bachelor's degree in psychology. The one of the first psychology classes I took was social psychology, which was one of my favorites. My instructor, it was one of the few classes where the instructor just lectured you the entire time, and I actually enjoyed it because it was just such a fascinating topic, and my instructor was so charismatic that he just really captured my attention, and he taught a psychology of the paranormal class, and I
Ooh.
wanted to take it, I just could not fit it into my schedule. He only taught it 1 day a week, and it just
Ah,
always happened to be on, like, the same day that my education classes were, and I just could never fit it into my schedule, and I was so upset.
you should see if there's anything in your area and you could just, like, just take a class, maybe
College is
at a
expensive,
community co
Kelly,
you can audit it a class, right? You can audit a
and you
class where it's
I don't know, is
you
that a
can,
thing?
like yeah, I think you pay, like, a smaller fee, and you can go to the class, sit in, you can do the work
Oh,
if you want to, you don't have
yeah.
to. But I would like to say that when Jen was getting this bachelor's in psychology, she came over to my house
Oh,
one day
yeah.
and said, "I'm writing a paper on abnormal psychology, and I'm
Mhm.
using you as as
I
my
did.
reference," and I was like, "That's so sweet, thank you."
Yeah. Yeah. I had to she was the most abnormal psychology person I knew, so I interviewed her and wrote a
And you
paper
didn't
on
even
her.
know the half of it at that time.
We were still very early in the friends. You
Yeah,
hadn't fully released your crazy on me yet.
no, it can't. This is a lot of crazy to unleash at one time.
It is, it is. You
You
had to
gotta
gradually introduce it.
You gotta fall in love with me first, and then
Yeah,
I can start letting some of it out.
absolutely. And I did.
Yep.
Okay, psychological explanations for why art might be perceived as cursed or haunted often focuses on cognitive and emotional responses to the artwork, as well
Mm.
as how our brain interprets the stimuli. So, in psychology, Carl Jung's concept of shadow self suggests that we are subconsciously drawn to things that represent our fears, desires, and unresolved emotions. Art, especially eerie or unsettling pieces, provides a safe space to confront these darker aspects of our psyche. And when we experience these intense emotions while viewing such art, it's often not just the piece itself, but the emotional triggers it brings to the surface. In this sense, the art serves as a mirror to what we're trying to avoid confronting within ourselves.
Huh.
When viewers are exposed to art that feels eerie or disturbing, it taps into like this deep rooted emotion that can cause a psychological reaction that some might interpret as a supernatural experience. This uncanny, a concept Freud explored, describes something familiar yet strange or unsettling, and it can provoke fear or discomfort. This feeling can easily be misconstrued as something paranormal.
Yeah, the uncanny valley. There's some
Yeah,
famous people that you look in their eyes and you just don't Garth Brooks is one of them, like, I don't know. I've seen some videos of him lately, and I'm like,
I didn't
"Yeah,
know that.
something just, like, kinda weird." And then there was a girl on, 90 Day Fiancé, and she looked like she was an android, if that makes
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like, And just her eyes, it was like it definitely uncanny valley there, so it was very unsettling and disturbing.
Okay. Another explanation is, and we've talked about this, pattern recognition and pareidolia.
Yep.
So humans have an inherent tendency to recognize patterns in their environment, a trait known as pareidolia. This is a phenomenon
Phenomenon.
do, 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 where people see faces or figures in random objects like clouds or rock formations. When viewing abstract or unusual art, especially paintings that evoke some strong emotional responses, our brains may impose recognizable patterns into the artwork, such as seeing movement or faces, even though there are none. In cases of supposedly haunted or cursed artwork, viewers may report seeing changes in the painting or ghostly figures emerging from them. This could be a result of pareidolia, where the brain creates that meaning from what is essentially a visual or psychological illusion.
That's fascinating.
Yes, isn't it?
Like, I can understand seeing things like I think I see a face and some shapes in that painting, but then to, like if say it's not paranormal and it is
Yeah,
psychological, to see it look like something's emerging from the
right.
painting is fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's similar to where if you stare at the mirror image for too long, then you could possibly see it move and things like that. Like your brain just creates movement even though there is none.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Next, there is just the power of suggestion. So, psychological research shows that our perceptions can be strongly influenced by suggestion. When an artwork is labeled as haunted or cursed, the viewer's perception of that piece can shift drastically. This is a form of expectation bias where people are primed to see or experience the paranormal because they've been told to expect it.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely I tried to keep in mind when I went to Edinburgh Manor is
Yeah,
that this is something I know, like, I've seen several, shows, people investigating it, and so I didn't wanna be kind of overreactive to things,
right.
like, anything that happened, and I still had some pretty cool well, then I mean, the scratch was
Yeah.
just insane.
Yeah, exactly. Then there is the emotional transference and empathy. So there are certain paintings out there that just evoke strong emotional reactions, especially if they depict subjects who seem to be in some type of distress or are suffering. The viewer may project their own emotions or experiences into the characters in the artwork, feeling empathy or an emotional bond. This emotional transfer can heighten the perception of a living quality within the art, making it seem as though the painting has a life of its own.
I saw a painting one time at I think it was at a Goodwill or something, and it was a bedroom, like, obviously the bedroom of an old lady,
Yeah.
and the bed was empty. The old lady wasn't in the bed, but there was a dog laying on the bed, and it looked sad, like maybe
Oh,
the and I'm looking at it, I felt so sad, and I'm like, "Oh, the owner
yeah.
died. The owner died, and this is,
Yeah.
like, the last place the owner was, and this do" and I had this whole scenario just from
Oh,
looking at
right.
this
Painting.
one
You should have bought
painting.
it.
I kept going back and forth, and then I ended up not, and I regret it. There's a
Yeah.
couple things I've seen that I haven't bought that I regret.
Yeah. So you always got to buy it. And our last psychological theory is just simple the fear of the unknown. So, one of the most potent psychological reasons for haunted art is the fear of the unknown. When people experience something that cannot be easily explained, they often default to a supernatural explanation, as these offer some type of sense of control or understanding an otherwise unsettling situation. This fear is often amplified by cultural narratives about haunted objects, which often portray such items as capable of influencing or possessing their owners. And these stories kind of tap into that deep seated fear of losing control or being overtaken by something that's kind of beyond our comprehension. So, psychologically speaking, the idea of art being haunted or cursed can be understood through a combination of emotional triggers, cognitive bias, and cultural influences. These explanations don't discount the possibility of the paranormal because we are a paranormal podcast, but they
Correct.
do kind of offer a compelling framework for understanding why a lot of people out there perceive art as haunted or supernatural.
I found the painting
Which one?
that I saw at Goodwill,
Oh, did you?
and I'm going to send you a text with that painting just so you can see it. Maybe we can add it to the episode.
Yeah. So it's just like a something like a generic painting online?
Well, I think it's like
Oh, I've
a
seen that. My
it's
mom
like a
has that painting.
yeah, it's like a copy of, like, a more famous painting. Yeah.
My mom has that painting. I'm pretty sure.
That painting almost moved me to tears standing in the middle of a Goodwill.
Yeah, I'm almost positive she doesn't have that. She has something very similar to it. Yeah. We'll add it to the episode. Just remind me.
Okay.
Okay, we are going to talk about two famous haunted slash cursed artwork pieces today. There are so many more. And as I was doing research, these were the two that kind of like I was going to do a whole episode just on both of these. And then I was like, let me combine them because I don't think there was enough to do one whole episode. But there are so many more that I want to do. And I have a whole list. So we'll definitely be revisiting haunted art.
I have a question. Should I look up the painting first and give
Yes.
you my impressions before you say anything about it?
Yes.
So this is
So the
called
first one is The Hands Resist Him.
okay, give me a second.
Okay, well, you look it up. I'll start talking just in general. This painting is by Bill Stoneham and it was painted in 1972.
I don't like it. Creepy.
Yeah, everyone else stop right now, pause the episode, go Google it or go to our social media because we'll have a picture of it.
Hmm.
I actually want to look at the picture
It
myself. I've seen it, but I want to look at it while
it's interesting because the one figure looks like an actual person and then the other one looks like a doll almost.
Mhm. Yeah.
I kinda get did you ever see the movie It?
No, but I know what it is.
Yeah, I kinda get, like, that kind of vibe, that kinda creepy kinda vibe from it.
Yeah. I can see that. So before we go any more about describing it, let me describe it so everyone can hear know what it looks
Okay.
like. So if you're not looking it up, if you're driving and you can't safely look up a picture of it, the artwork depicts a young boy standing in front of a glass door with a group of faintly ghostly hands reaching out towards him. The boy's expression is blank, and then there's a girl who kind of appears to be made of a shadow, also just as Kelly said, looks very doll-like. She stands next to him. So this artwork is often described as unsettling due to its surreal style and eerie atmosphere. And the composition features a strong sense of depth, right? There's that uncertain space between the boy and the ghostly hands that
Yeah.
I think really adds to that unease. It is painted in oil on a canvas, which is, very typical with realism paintings, but it really kind of contrasts that dreamlike quality within the piece.
Yeah. It's definitely unsettling. It's very
Yeah.
creepy. It's
The
like
girl is, like, much lighter than the boy, so that's where I think you get more of that, like, ghostly figure. It's almost not transparent, but she's definitely, like, lighter.
and her face just doesn't look like
Oh, yeah,
definitely looks like a doll or some like
it does. Yeah, her face
yeah.
is just I mean, the boy's face is creepy too, but
Yeah, but it looks
her
real.
face
It
is
looks like
worse.
that's a boy, and then it's
Yeah,
weird that there's, like, this almost like a haunted doll standing next to him.
right, but if you look at the actual painting too, you'll see in her arm and her leg, it is more of doll because it's, like, it's got that, like, crease in it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Well,
Yeah.
that's really weird.
Yeah, and her eyes are black, so that petrifies me.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe that's, like, a painting of a black-eyed kid. Maybe he saw
maybe.
one, and he thought it was creepy, and this is his kinda depiction of it.
Yeah, maybe. And then the hands on the
The
other
hands are
side of the
weird,
door.
yeah.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
It's like it wants to pull him into the void
Yes.
behind him.
Yes, absolutely. So, While this piece was not a celebrated piece in the mainstream art world, it did kind of gain a cult status after its appearance in 2000 on eBay, where it was described as haunted.
Oh.
So the artwork, spooky imagery, and the eerie tale surrounding it, which I'll get to in a minute, kind of helped it become this iconic piece in the genre of creepy art. It sparked significant interest in the intersection of art and supernatural legends, even though its historical art significance is more in the realm of popular culture than fine art history. So, a little background on the artist. Bill Stoneham is an American artist. He began his career as a realist painter. He studied at the Chicago Art Institute and worked as a commercial artist for many years. His early work was deeply influenced by surrealism and the symbolic representation of emotions through his figurative and dreamlike imagery. The Hands Resist Him was part of his more experimental work that explored spiritual and emotional states, blending reality with the dream world. While not widely known in mainstream art circles, you probably haven't heard of this painting unless you're into haunted art. Stoneham's work has drawn a lot of attention in some niche communities, particularly for this painting. Now, Stoneham himself describes the Hands Resist Him as being inspired by his personal feelings about childhood, reality, and the supernatural. So maybe he did experience a black eyed kid.
I because like, that's his feelings about childhood reality and the supernatural. I would think he had a pretty traumatic childhood based off
It would
this.
seem.
Yeah, based off this painting.
So he says the painting reflects a dreamlike vision of a child's innocence contrasted with the sense of danger and intrusion. Stoneham has stated that the mysterious hands in the painting represent the unseen forces or invisible boundaries that often affect children, such as societal pressures, internal fears, or influences from the unconscious mind. This piece fits with his broader body of work that explores psychological and emotional themes as well as the supernatural.
That's really kinda cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
I personally don't like the artwork. I think it's terrifying.
Well, I mean, I like that you can look at it and, like, what he's saying it's about, like, it
Yes,
makes sense,
that I
and,
agree.
like, I think that it's a as far as a depiction of what he's talking about,
Yeah,
it it
it's spot on.
works.
I
Yeah.
would not want this hanging in my house, curse or no curse.
Yeah, I can't imagine, like, "Oh, I got a great spot for this painting." Yeah. You know what you're getting for Christmas, right?
You better not, I will burn it. Don't you dare. It will not get hung up. I promise you that. Okay, so in 2000, the artist Bill Stoneham received an unexpected email about the Hands Resist Him, a painting that he hadn't thought about in 25 years. The message came from Kim Smith, who had won the artwork in an infamous eBay auction after it was described as haunted. Smith, the owner of the Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, has maintained a friendly connection with Stoneham over the years. So the story of the haunted painting spread across early social media, fueling its legend. Stoneham has since been interviewed by various media outlets, including radio, print, and podcasts, discussing his artistic process and the eerie rumors surrounding this piece. The seller claimed that the painting had a dark reputation and described it as a haunted object that caused strange events to occur around it. The seller reported that people who looked at the painting felt uneasy. Well, yes. And some even claimed that the figures in the painting moved, no thank you, when viewed from different angles. The legend became even more terrifying when the painting was linked with reports of unexplained accidents and disturbing dreams experienced by those who owned it.
It's always the dreams,
I
man.
know. They get you in your dreams. Among the stories surrounding the painting is the eBay listing description, which stated that people who had owned the painting before the seller had experienced nightmares. The painting would move on its own, and the one owner even reported seeing the hands twitch.
Nope. I'm out.
Nope. I know why they sold it on eBay.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No. The seller also claimed that the painting had caused physical harm to people and trigger warning, including the death of a pet after the painting was displayed in their home.
Oh.
I know. That's why you can't buy me the painting, Kelly.
Yeah, I can't risk it.
No. No,
No.
we can't. I would never free. There wouldn't be many things that you could do to end this friendship. That would be one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the chance.
Thank you.
I love Ellie too much.
Yeah. Although these reports are largely anecdotal and unverified, they have fueled the mystique surrounding this piece. Now, some rational explanations could suggest that the unsettling perspective and the light manipulation in the artwork, combined with the vivid imagination of those who encounter it, could lead to the perception of figures moving, as we kind of covered in all of our psychological reasoning beforehand. However, the haunting rumors surrounding this painting have persisted, leading some to speculate that the painting may have a spiritual attachment or might have been cursed by the artist's emotional state during the creation or because of its disturbing content.
See, I feel like because it looks like how I said, like, if that's what his meaning was, he must have had a traumatic childhood. It almost
Yeah.
feels like all the energy of that trauma kind of was, like, imposed
Yeah.
into that painting.
Very possible. Stoneham explains that his work often taps into Carl Jung's collective unconsciousness, and with the hands resist him drawing from old childhood photo that he had. He described the glass door as the barrier between the waking and dreaming, while the hands symbolized other lives. He also noted the unsettling coincidence that both the gallery owner who originally displayed the piece and the Los Angeles Times critic who reviewed it died within a year of its debut. Though he does say that this is just a coincidence.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it could be, things happen, people die.
They
It's
do.
that whole correlation doesn't equal causation thing, but
Yeah.
when patterns seem to emerge, you have to look more in depth into it.
Yes, absolutely. So, after the hands resist him gained notoriety as a haunted painting, the artist decided to expand upon its eerie themes by creating additional works in the same series. These follow ups explored what happened to the boy in the original painting, further deepening the unsettling mythology around the piece. So the next direct sequel he created was called Resistance at the Threshold. And this showed a boy as an adult standing once again before the door. The once doll companion is now more sinister. I don't know how you get more sinister, but it did. And the presence
Seriously?
of the reaching hands is even stronger. Now, in
Hmm.
our show notes, there will be a link directly to Bill's website, and they have all of the paintings displayed there so you can view them all. The next one was the threshold of the revelation. This scene grows more intense, again, more intense. Not sure how that happened, but it did, as the eerie figures seem to evolve and take on a greater presence. The once clear separation between the boy's world and the unseen one from beyond is beginning to break down. Then there was the hands invent him. This installment flips the perspective, exploring the idea that the boy is not in control, but rather being shaped by the hands. This
Ugh.
unsettling imagery, yeah, suggests that he is a product of the forces beyond his understanding. And the
Well,
last one, well, I don't want to say last, but the most recent piece in the series, which was released in 2021, this hints at the aftermath of the journey, depicting a haunted, almost post apocalyptic feeling. It raises the question of what happens after one crosses the threshold and fully enters into the unknown.
huh. I kinda
Yeah.
like the flipped perspective because, like I was saying, if that was, like, his trauma, the energy of his trauma,
Yeah.
you are kind of not in control of that, and you are being shaped by it as a child.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you have to grow up and then learn how to heal it and then have control over it. I'm really
Yeah.
thinking this is a big trauma piece.
Yeah, definitely. So where are they now? Well, the hands resistant painting is still being owned by Kim Smith, who's the person who bought it during that eBay. So she's had it since 2000. There are no credible reports or sources indicating that Kim has experienced or reported any type of paranormal activity associated with this artwork.
Okay.
So the resistance at the threshold and the threshold of the revelation and the what remains paintings, their current location is unknown. It's not publicly documented as to where those paintings are. But the hands invent him painting hangs at the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I know I've seen it. I didn't know what it was when I looked at it, but I've been there. So I've
Right.
probably seen it. Okay. Are we ready for the next painting?
I am. What is it so I can Google it?
The Crying Boy painting.
Okay.
And again, I'm just going to give a little description. This painting was created by Giovanni Bragolin in the 1950s. So, the Crying Boy paintings are a series of artworks that depict young children with very sorrowful expressions and tears streaming down their faces. The most famous versions were created by Giovanni Bragolin, a pseudonym used by the Italian artist Bruno Amadio.
Ooh, good pronunciation.
Thank you. I'm proud of
Yeah,
myself.
I should be.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
Well, it's definitely sad. I don't know, it's not as unsettling as the last one.
No, it definitely isn't.
No, but it's definitely very sad, like, he's hurting. Whatever's going
Yeah.
on, he's really hurting. It's not
Yeah.
like mom yelled at him, like, something
Yeah.
major happened.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
big. So these paintings are highly realistic and dramatic and often feature dark backgrounds that enhance the emotional impact of the children's tear-filled eyes.
Man, if you zoom into those eyes, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I
So
know.
good.
These works were mass produced as prints and became popular home decorations in the mid to late 20th century. Which why? Why do you want a picture of a child crying in your
Art is
home?
weird.
I don't get that.
Art is
I
weird.
know. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't like it's hanging in a museum, that's fine. But like to the
Right.
point where they were sold and people like, "Oh, I want this. I like this." Like to me, if I have something in my home, it's because it makes me happy. I don't want something in my home that's going to make me sad.
Maybe some people view it if in their home as reminding them of how far they've come, like, or things
Maybe.
that they've overcome in life.
Yeah, I guess. So these paintings were created, as I said, in the 1950s, and there are multiple variations. So I'm going to have one on our social media, but look it up because there are multiple variations and there's different crying children.
Oh, okay.
A lot of children's cry, so
You saw
he painted
this
a bunch
one.
of them. Yeah. No, there's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raglan reportedly painted a whole series of these works, which were later reduced and sold in very large numbers across Europe. So the crying boy paintings became wildly recognized due to their commercial success. They were all over Britain and other European countries. And while they were originally seen as sentimental and decorative, again, I don't get it, but to each their own, their reputation shifted in the 1980s when they became linked to a supposed curse.
Hmm.
Brigelin's motivation for painting the crying children remains unclear. It's never really said. Some theories suggest that he painted them to represent the suffering of children in war torn Europe.
Oh,
Yeah, while others believe that they were simply designed for commercial appeal, which again, I don't get the commercial appeal about it, but Bragolin often painted children from impoverished backgrounds, leading to numerous theories about the origins of the crying boy curse. Some speculated that the child depicted had perished in a fire, which remember that, with his spirit becoming trapped in the painting. The mass production of prints suggests a financial incentive rather than a deeply personal artistic expression.
Yeah.
But the legend of the crying boy painting curse began when the British tabloids reported that homes displaying the painting had mysteriously caught on fire. However, the paintings themselves remained unharmed in the wreckage.
Ooh, that's weird.
Yeah, this led to widespread speculation that the artwork was cursed, causing destruction to those who owned it.
The only thing that makes it, because like, houses catch on fire and these things were mass produced, so
Yeah.
the thing that makes it interesting is that the paintings were not damaged.
Yeah. So firefighters claim they often found the undamaged crying boy paintings in burned homes. Owners of the paintings reported bad luck, unexplained accidents, and eerie sensations. The Sun newspaper fueled the hysteria in 1985 when they reported multiple cases of house fires allegedly linked to the paintings and later organizing a mass burning of the prints.
Huh,
Once the article was released, it sparked widespread hysteria. The legend continued to grow as people's imaginations took over. Some individuals claimed that the painting was responsible for the deaths of family members. Others alleged that attempts to burn the prints were futile as the painting remained unscathed. Even establishments displaying crying boy prints experienced devastating fires. Firefighter Alan Wilkinson stated that these incidents were due to negligence rather than supernatural causes, although he acknowledged having encountered over 50 such fires since 1973.
wow.
Eventually, the situation reached a tipping point. In response to the public eagerness to rid themselves of the painting, Kelvin Mackenzie, editor of The Sun, proposed a solution. He invited readers to send in their paintings, promising that the sun would destroy them. And on Halloween, the newspaper staff burned more than 2,500 copies of the painting.
Wow, that's a lot. A lot of people had these.
Yeah. The exact number of documented fires involving the Crying Boy painting is not definitively established, but the reports from the 1980s suggest that there were numerous incidents that were linked to the artwork.
Okay.
The scientific theory is some experts just believe that the paintings were coated in a fire resistant varnish, allowing them to survive fires that destroyed other items.
Makes sense.
It does. Doesn't really explain why so many places caught on fire that had these,
Right,
but explains why maybe they weren't destroyed. Then the psychological explanation is this could just be an example of confirmation bias, where people selectively remember incidents that support the idea of the curse while they ignored, causes where nothing else happened. How many other
right,
fires happened in that time?
right,
Right? If you had in that period of I don't remember how many years it was, but let's just say 10 years, if you had, you know, 1,000 fires and 50 of them had crying boy paintings, that's
right,
not really that big of a deal.
right, but you hear about the 50, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Wow, that keeps happening,"
yeah,
not
exactly.
realizing that there's,
So many more.
950 other fires without one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the paranormal perspective that some people believe the paintings hold some type of spiritual energy or were cursed by Bragolin himself.
Hmm,
Thousands of copies of the Crying Boy painting still remain in circulation, and some are still displayed in homes. I'm sorry, I'm not risking it. I live in an apartment building. That would just be rude. I
yeah,
can't.
I live in a townhouse, so I can't take my
No,
neighbors out,
exactly.
or my cats, because I don't know,
Yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
hard to get the cats out.
Yeah.
Or,
So,
and the kids, like, the
yeah, the
kids
kids
too.
too, and your husband. Yeah,
But they can get out. The cats,
that's true.
you know
Yeah. So again, some are still in homes, while some have been destroyed due to the curse or legend. The original paintings by Bragulin are rarely seen, and their whereabouts remain largely unknown. So no one's really sure what happened to the original
Okay.
copies. But despite the curses being debunked by rational explanation, the crying boy remains a topic of fascination. The legend has been covered in books, documentaries, paranormal investigations, and copies of the painting still surface in haunted artifact collections. Now, I do have a video that I will post in the show notes, so go check it out, of someone who attempted to burn one of these paintings. And it's really weird, like a part of it burns, but then the fire like went out
Okay,
and
how
did
do we
not burn.
know that they did not put something on that
We
painting before
don't,
they
but
burned it? Okay.
it was an interesting video
Okay.
that I found in my research and I thought I would share.
Okay.
Art has the power to move us, inspire us, and in some cases, terrify us. Whether these haunted and cursed paintings hold real supernatural energy, or they are simply the result of eerie coincidences and psychological suggestion, their legend continues to captivate the imagination. From the hands resist him to the crying boy, these artworks have left a trail of mystery, fear, and fascination in their wake. Are these paintings truly cursed? Or is it just a mix of eerie storytelling and the human mind searching for patterns? If you ever find a painting at a thrift store that just feels off, maybe leave it behind. And that brings us to the end of this episode about cursed artwork.
If you love what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
And don't forget to follow us on
Follow us. Follow us.
follow. I sound like Oompa Loompa.
Yellow brick road.
Yeah, or not the Oompa Loompa. Why did I
The
say Oompa
Munchkins.
Loompa? Munchkin. That's the one. It's been a long day. Um, yeah, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Not My Ghost Podcast and on Facebook at Not My Ghost, Not My Problem. You can go look at these creepy pictures and interact, comment, let us know what you think. Would you hang either of these paintings in your house?
That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, I not these 2. Some of the other cursed artwork I was researching that will bring you in future episodes possibly, but not these 2.
Not those two.
The first one, not because it's haunted, but just because it's creepy and I wouldn't want it in my house. The
Yeah,
second one, again, fire, I can't risk fires.
right. I agree. If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters.
We
And
do.
if you have ever had a spine tingling paranormal encounter, share your story with us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com. You might just hear it featured on a future episode.
Yes, our inbox is lonely.
It
Send
is.
us your stories. Thank you for joining us on this chilling exploration of haunted and cursed artwork. Remember, as you wander through the dimly lit galleries, dusty antique shops, or even your own attic, keep this in mind.
If it's not your painting,
It's not your problem.
until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.